The lessons of history would suggest that civilizations move in cycles. You can track that back quite far: the Babylonians, the Sumerians, followed by the Egyptians, the Romans, China. We're obviously in a very upward cycle right now, and hopefully that remains the case. But it may not. Trying to read our DNA is like trying to understand software code, with only 90% of the code riddled with errors. It's very difficult in that case to understand and predict what that software code is going to do. My proceeds from the PayPal acquisition were $180 million. I put $100 million in SpaceX, $70 million in Tesla, and $10 million in SolarCity. I had to borrow money for rent. Over time, I think we will probably see a closer merger of biological intelligence and digital intelligence. SpaceX has the potential of saving the U.S. government $1 billion a year. We are opposed to creating an entrenched monopoly with no realistic means for anyone to compete. I think it would be great to be born on Earth and die on Mars. Just hopefully not at the point of impact. If you had to buy a new plane every time you flew somewhere, it would be incredibly expensive. In the case of Apple, they did originally do production internally, but then along came unbelievably good outsourced manufacturing from companies like Foxconn. We don't have that in the rocket business. There's no Foxconn in the rocket business. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop, where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. I'm a Silicon Valley guy. I just think people from Silicon Valley can do anything. I hate writing about personal stuff. I don't have a Facebook page. I don't use my Twitter account. I am familiar with both, but I don't use them. The value of beauty and inspiration is very much underrated. No question. But I want to be clear, I'm not trying to be anyone's savior. I'm just trying to think about the future and not be sad. There are some important differences between me and Tony Stark, like I have 5 kids, so I spend more time going to Disneyland than parties. From an evolutionary standpoint, human consciousness has not been around very long. A little light just went on after 4.5 billion years. How often does that happen? Maybe it is quite rare. I think a lot of the American people feel more than a little disappointed that the high-water mark for human exploration was 1969. The dream of human space travel has almost died for a lot of people.